Hey there, Canopy growth traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Monday. Happy Monday, April 29th, and I hope you had a great weekend. In this video, we're going to be discussing Canopy growth and how to convert common shares into exchangeable shares. We'll go through the process. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the chart and price action toward the end of the video, and I'll share all of what I've learned as I'm looking to convert some of my shares as well. And just finished a coaching session with one of the Pow Group private members, so you know who you are. Had a great discussion and starting to learn a lot here. So I wanted to just do a quick video and share with everybody what I've learned so far. There's definitely going to be more information that comes out, but as always, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is for entertainment purposes only. You should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say, and obviously I'm a Canopy growth shareholder. So full disclosure, you might hear my phone ding in the background as well. I'm waiting on a potential delivery of a stove, a new oven slash stove, so I got to keep my phone on. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me and the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Speaking of videos, if you go over to videos, I just posted a video from MJ Moment, an article, rescheduling decision coming as early as today or tomorrow, says opposition group. If you haven't seen that, you can check that out. Also posted over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. You can follow us over there as well for real-time updates. So we'll jump into the Canopy Growth website. So if you just go to canopygrowth.com, and I covered this on a previous video, David Klein said it as well. And if you just go over to investors, go to investor FAQ, so frequently asked questions, scroll down. It says, who is Canopy Growth Corporation's transfer agent? And if you remember that video I posted with the video of David Klein explaining Canopy USA, and he said that you'd basically just go to the website, Canopy Growth website, contact the transfer agent if you want to exchange your shares. So if you're wondering, if you're like me and you're wondering, my plan is I'm probably going to switch half of my shares. So I'm going to switch my regular common shares into half of those into exchangeable shares. And essentially it's going to be a holdings company and all their U.S. assets, right? Their acreage, WANA, and Jetty assets. And then any other future U.S. assets potentially as well. But essentially, there's two separate companies and entities, but still a subsidiary. And then eventually, once it's federally permissible in the U.S., it'll probably all come under one umbrella like they're trying to do. But this is just a stopgap, essentially. And we know Constellation Brands converted into exchangeable shares as well and divested from the board and whatnot. So who is Canopy Growth Corporation's transfer agent? You might be familiar with Odyssey Trust Company. I actually got a letter from them with regards to a different investment today. So essentially, they're just a custodian. So if you have your bank or a broker, like let's say you hold your funds with TD or RBC, CIBC, or Questrade, for example. I'm in Canada, so I'm just naming off all the ones in Canada. But let's say you hold that on Questrade or through your bank, right? Through a broker or through your bank. You go through Odyssey. You would basically contact Odyssey. They can be contacted at 1-888-290-1175. And I spoke to them. So essentially what you do is you call them, you initiate the transfer. So let's say you're with Questrade. You would call them, you say, I'm with Questrade. You would initiate the transfer. And I'm going to be doing this so I can give a little bit more information a little bit later on. And I also got these forms as well. If anybody wants a copy of them, just email me at info@pursuitofwealthgroup.com or go to powgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com. Click on contact and fill out the contact form and just send me an email and I can send you these forms. But essentially you'll get two forms after you transfer. So once you call them, let them know you want to initiate the transfer from your current custodian, right? If you're with Questrade, let's say, they hold the stock certificate. They're your custodian. You would transfer that from Questrade to Odyssey. And they said they can't really speak to how long that would take because it's not kind of out of their control. But they said once they get the request, it takes about 2 business days to convert into the exchangeable shares. Okay. So essentially, once you initiate the transfer, you call them, they get the transfer, 2 business days to exchange into exchangeable shares. Once they have the transfer, then you'll basically just fill out this form here, form of notice of conversion of exchangeable shares. So to Odyssey and CC Canopy Growth. And you'd go through this form to exchange however many shares into exchangeable. And it's 1 for 1 and it's unlimited. So you can, if you have 1 million shares, you can do a million. If you have 1,000 shares or 1 share, you can do that, right? So it's not, it just, when they said unlimited, it just means that if you're like Constellation Brands, it doesn't matter. There's no limit of how many of that 1-to-1 ratio you can do. So if you have X amount of common shares, you can exchange them all, no matter, there's no limit. into Exchangeable, right? And as I mentioned in my previous videos, if you haven't seen them, just go to my YouTube channel, and I explain Exchangeable shares. And essentially, it just gives you non-voting rights, and you can basically assess how much exposure you want to the U.S. market, right? And if there's ever like dividends or anything like that, you don't get access to that, right? So, but it can be transferred over, back and forth, to and fro anytime. So if you want to go from Exchangeable to common shares, they have a form for that too. So you form of notice of conversion of common shares. Again, if you want access to these forms, just let me know. Send me an email, and I'll send them your way. But essentially, like I said, Canopy Growth transfer agent, just contact them, they get the ball rolling, and then everything is separate, right? So they're going to deconsolidate all of the U.S. assets, so that'll all be reported under the U.S. holdings company, Canopy USA, LLC. And I think David Klein said not in the next quarter, but I think he said 2 quarters from now we should get some information into their financials. And then realistically, it's not that big of a deal, because if we get rescheduling to Schedule 3, which I just posted this video here saying it could come as early as this week, I think it's sooner than later for sure. But essentially, if we get rescheduling to Schedule 3, the decision is probably going to come out soon, but it's not going to actually get enacted. If it does get approved by the DEA, DOJ, then it's probably not going to get actually enacted until late 2024 or early 2025, in my opinion, at which time, the 280E tax code will go away. So just imagine their financials, right? The amount, like a lot of their U.S. assets are going to be very profitable, hitting all sorts of profitability metrics, right? So a look into their financials would be great in the next couple of quarters, but it's going to be night and day once we get removal of 280E, right? As we know, that's a huge thing hindering a lot of these companies, especially, with, it's even in Canada, right? Like they're plagued by high excise taxes as well. Like a third of most of these companies' revenue are going to excise taxes. So I know Organigram, Oxley, they've said it. Even Tilray said, if we make 150 million, if we make 300 million, we pay like 150 million in excise tax, right? So a lot of this is going to change, and it's not a coincidence that we're seeing 280E potentially going away at the same time we've got all kinds of pressure on the Canadian government as well to do something about excise taxes. Didn't come out in the 2024 budget, but we'll see what happens. Again, even if we get the Schedule 3 recommendation soon, let's say over the next few weeks or months, it's not going to actually get enacted for quite a while, right? Because they have that 60, maybe 90-day comment period, and then other documentation, red tape and regulatory hoops to jump through. So it's probably going to be at least, I would say, 6 months, maybe longer, before we actually see it enacted, if it gets approved, and then actually enacted, and then 280E goes away once enacted, right? 280E doesn't go away if they approve the Schedule 3 recommendation. It goes away after the comment period, which could be 2 to 3 months, and then X amount of time after that. So we're probably looking at least 6 to 12 months, in my opinion, before we actually see it enacted. So by then, who knows, maybe they get something done in Canada, but essentially when you have CGC, Canopy USA, you have exposure to their U.S. assets, right? And they're not going to be traded on the NASDAQ or in a major exchange. So in order to convert it, you need to contact Odyssey and go through the transfer agent and go about it that way. So CGC on the 4-hour time frame, it did confirm a 4-hour uptrend, as I mentioned, and a 4-hour bull flag, and that has since been met, and we're coming back down. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross here on the 4-hour, and on the weekly time frame, it's a weekly inside bar in a tightening range so far this week. But we'll see if we can confirm a weekly uptrend. If we break above 1157, then weekly uptrend confirmed, and that'll be all about the monthly time frame from there. We need to form. We could form a monthly higher low next month, right? Because we only got 18 hours, 31 minutes left in this monthly candle, so we got one more trading day into tomorrow. And remember, HHS recommendation came out on August 31st, the last day when no one expected an August recess. Let's see if we get it on the last day of April when no one would expect it. But after tomorrow, we'll have a new monthly candle and a potential for a monthly higher low. Let's say if our higher low is at 609 this month, if that holds into tomorrow, that'll be our critical level going into Wednesday and the next monthly candle. And then from there, we'll have we got a lot of room. Yeah, that's about 53% from the low there to the low of last month. That's about 54%. If we start monthly consolidation, lose the low of this month in May, then we got about 50%, 54% to form that monthly higher low. So it's looking really good. And we could do that. We could confirm the monthly uptrend over the next month or two. And then in terms of the weekly time frame, we're looking really good here above the 10-week moving average. We did have a stochastic bear cross and a potential for a MACD bear cross, but news can change it. And we're above, we had a perfect back test of the 50 weekly, and we're trending back towards our 100 weekly there at $16. And we just had our first golden cross since November of 2020. If we zoom out to the 5-year time frame here, you can see the last time we had a golden cross was way back here in November of 2020. So it's been a long time coming. Like I said, show me the chart, I'll tell you the news, and it's looking like we could see massive price appreciation over the next couple of months. So again, if you haven't seen that video with the imminent rescheduling decision from the opposition group, Sam, you can check that out. But essentially, I do think that it's going to be soon. I think it's a matter of weeks, if not months. But I think it's going to come over the next few months. They'll want to get it done before the election, so that would make sense. And then also it takes around about, on average, 6 months for them to do their scheduling review. And then just looking at the technicals and what that's saying, it's looking like it's showtime soon. So going to end it there. If this video is helpful, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know if you actually go through with the conversion, and if there's anything that I didn't discuss in this video that you can share with the community. I'll be sure to relay that as well in one of my videos. And if I come across any other details during the process as well, I'll be sure to report back and keep everybody up to speed. But going to end it there, it's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and share the video if anybody else might be able to benefit from this as well, because at the end of the day, that's all I'm trying to do is to help, pay it forward and spread the word and the MJ gospel, if you will. So going into there, hope you have a great night. We'll see you again on the next video.